Hey guys, Paul Geddes here from Lowrance Tactical Sonar. Today we're going to talk about how to set up a boat using dual point ones. There's a lot of little tricks to it that needs to be done. You can't just throw 2.1s on and expect it to work. Lowrance is going to turn around and tell you it will not work if you just throw it up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to tackle this fairly quickly and make it short and sweet. The first thing that you need to do is you need to download an app called Magnetic Field Detector. So I'm going to show you real quick what that app looks like. It's called Magnetic Field Detector. What that is just going to basically detect anything that is going to give you any kind of draw. So our first steps that we're going to do is we're going to lay this thing in the bottom, basically center of the boat, and get a baseline. So we're at 32, 33. So then what we're going to do is we're going to come up here where we're thinking about placing our point one, and we're going to lay it right beside it. Right? So 50 to 51, that's not bad. It's a little bit of spike, but you got to figure we've got the trolling motor tray and all the metal around it. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to mount it up front. So let me show you what happens. You watch this and you see it climb. Watch what happens. As you can see, and it's vibrating and going crazy. All that right there is basically pulling off to the side. So you need to lay it where you're going to lay it. See if you're good with no interference. Here's my back point one. So I need to basically see there's no magnetic at all. A little bit over to the right for the metal right here. The biggest thing that you need to do, you need to turn your switch on and crank your motor while you're testing this. Now I'm not going to do that just for the video, but you need to do that. The other thing, when you install your back point one, you need to have access to your point one. And what I want you to do is after you get everything installed, everything wired up, is I want you to go in and unplug your back point one. Just like that. So we've got it. Just leave it laying right there open. It's only temporary, guys. I'm going to tell you why we're doing that. So right away, the reason we're unplugging the back one is we've got to tell the system when you got 2.1s on there, they're going to have two different numbers. When you go to pages, you go to settings, network, and device list. It's going to come up with everything that's on that NEMA 2000. See my point one right here? So it wasn't named front, it has a number after that. So what you do is now you go into your device list and you name the one that's still plugged up, which should be the front. You name that front, then you go to configure, and what we want to do is we want to change your instance. Instead of 000, we're going to change that to 001. Right? We're going to make sure that WAS is enabled, turned on. After you do that, press exit. It's going to make sure, it's going to ask you, say, are you sure you want to change that instance? You're going to say yes. All right. So now that we've got that changed, now what we've done is we've already told that system that that front one is going to become the heading unit. And now that it only sees one, so it's going to label that automatically as your primary and your heading. And when you change your instance, now it's pretty much telling you that you're going to use that for heading only. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to plug my rear one back up. Excuse the mess, I had to leave it undone to do this video, but I'm getting so many requests that it needed to be done. Now all of a sudden, now I plugged it back up and it's popped one up. So when that comes up, you're going to name it in your device list, you're going to go in and name that one. Now it's not going to come up rear, so you got to name it rear. All right, so now the instance is 0, status is okay. Okay, so now we've got 2.1s on the system. So now we're going to go back to data sources under your network. So now on the GPS, we're going to go to all data. When you click on all data, you need to go to your blue arrow over here and make sure that scope is on local. Local means you're only changing this unit. So then I want to shoot the GPS. I want to pull that from the 0.1 rear. Just the GPS. Then I want to scroll up. I want to go to vessel. Right? And we want to go to heading. Alright, so this right here, you want to make sure that it's on local, or you can leave that on global if you're going to be basically making sure that every one of your units are pulling from the 0.1. Now what I do is I do a little experiment where basically I'll have one on heading with the 0.1 and one without to see the difference. You go in, you check your 0.1 heading, right? Your rate of turn is going to be global. It's going to be on the front. Pitch and roll, front, front. All of those is going to be on the front, and you can leave those global. Right? Your heading, you can leave on global if you like, if you're going to use all of them, which should be fine. What tends to happen sometimes, just to warn you, what happens is a lot of times they'll put a heading, the 0.1 up there, and then they didn't basically use an app or figure out where it was actually going to be. Well, what happens after a little while, after you calibrate it, the magnetic field increases and it starts to pull, you know, your arrow pretty much to your left, or your heading sensor to the left a little bit. So that's the reason pretty much that, you know, whenever you're using it or not using it, that's what you want to do. You just want to make sure. Some don't use it pretty much on the rear because you're always moving on the rear, and it's a little bit slower turn rate because it's not as refreshing as quick. So after you do that, that's on this unit. So now, just to recap right now, we are using the GPS from the 0.1 only on the rear. No heading. We're just using that as a GPS sensor. Now, on the front, we're going to go in and we're going to do the same exact thing on the front, except we're actually going to use the GPS of the internal sonar. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that real quick. So we're going to basically hit pages, settings, network, data sources, GPS. We're going to go to all data. We're going to make sure that's on local. So right now I have this one selected as 0.1 front, but you see where the 0.1 is, right? So we're off 3 foot. Now if I wanted to, I could use this device right here to be closer. To me, it's not going to matter right now if I use that 0.1. Just to keep everybody in mind, the error positioning estimate is 12.8 feet right now. It's a cloudy day. So what that means is civilian GPS right now, on average, 11 to 18 feet, depending on the day and where we're at, what's going on, everything else. So now you got all data, local, 0.1 front. Now, if I want to choose this device, that's basically going to mean it's going to be up there, closer, but it's not that much closer, so I'm going to keep it on 0.1. Your vessel, heading, 0.1 front. Rate of turn, 0.1 front. Pitch and roll, everything's on 0.1 front because we're using the heading up here. You know, that's what we're wanting to do. We're going to use the heading off of this one right here. Now, if you use just your internal GPS on your GPS, not your heading, but just your GPS, if you use that, you want to make sure it's on local. Then you can check whichever one of these devices. If your top one is closer, that's fine. It's not going to make that much of a difference. So once you've got everything done, what you'll do is you'll go in on your back units or your front units. It's going to be easier to do it from the back because you're going to have to calibrate it. You go to device list, point one front, and go to calibrate. What that's going to do is it's going to tell you what you need to do right there. So you're going to basically go in and create a 390-degree circle at approximately 2 to 3 degree rate of turn. After you're going to get ready to start, you'll press calibrate. Then what's going to happen is it's going to give you a degree of whatever rate you're turning. You keep it between 2 and 3, and then once it's finished, that circle, it's going to say calibration okay, and then you're done. Now, one thing you just have to keep in mind, guys, we're talking about civilian GPS. One day, and this is what I do all the time, I'll go drop a cane pile today, and I'll back my rear transducer and sit it right over the top. Everything just be perfectly fine. I mark it right over there. I'll come back 2 days later, pull up to the waypoint when I'm 40 to 50 feet off, try to hit it, it's not there. You know, that's because of the error in the civilian GPS. You just have to remember it's not accurate. It's not 100% dead on. So just keep that in mind. That's the reason sometimes you mark brush piles and you go back to them the next day and they're not there, because you're marking on an error. I mean, ballpark range, 15 foot. I mean, on average. Cloudy days can be more. I mean, it just really, sunny days I've seen 9 foot, 10 foot. Cloudy days I've seen 21 feet. It really just depends on what's going on, and there's nothing we can do about that. That's just what we got to live with. So I hope this video helps. If you need help, tacticalsonar.com, or contact me on Facebook, Paul@tacticalsonar.com. All of our stuff pretty much, we got a whole pile of new videos coming out. I had my camera go down to my other GoPro, so we're redoing some camera, redoing some video footage. So if you need anything, Paul@tacticalsonar.com or tacticalsonar.com. Support number is still the same, 864-992-6362. Thanks guys for watching.